My name is Ian Randall. I'm a PhD candidate at the University of Technology, Sydney, and my research straddles the discipline of design and business. My own design work, Randallfoil, within the sport of rowing, led to this research project. Progressing an innovation in rowing was like lifting the lid on a box containing a writhing leviathan. My research is concerned with understanding the dynamics of design innovation and adoption. And as a designer, I encountered a series of paradoxes that I have come to appreciate are faced by all innovators in all contexts. My first paper concerns the historical and theoretical context of innovation and rowing. How innovation occurs is something that concerns all areas of human society. The basic economic problem has its design equivalent. As we ever encounter the phenomena that poor designs endure and good designs fail, it is a problem that I am reminded of every day when I sit down at my obsolete yet universally entrenched 19th century QWERTY keyboard layout. As with many paradoxes, they are locked in a spiral orbit. Dark cannot exist without light, good without evil, life without death. So innovation does not exist without conservation. My own design was as simple as adding an eraser to the end of a pencil. Straightforward design appropriation. I took the known performance attributes of the hydrofoil and added it to a rowing oar with a measurable performance increase of 3 to 5%. The application of a hydrofoil is sweeping through many water sports, the America's Cup and foiling surfboards. My assumption was that if my design was proven, it would be adopted, but this was not understanding the paradox of innovation. The sport of rowing has a systemic conservation bias, and this can be seen in historical and contemporary equipment. It is common for all crews to be sitting in the same boat built by the same manufacturer, pulling on the same oars, even though there is no obligation to do so. This is in stark contrast to other sports. Just look at the diversity of equipment in cycling. This conservation can also be seen in the slow adoption of new technologies. Innovation is evolutionary, not revolutionary, a glacial change. In 1980, we saw the first use of composite materials at the Moscow Olympics. 12 years later, at the Barcelona Olympics, 3 Olympic cycles, gold medals were still being won in traditional wooden boats. This conservation bias can also be seen in all rowing governing organisations. My historical survey found that rowing organisations were resistant to innovation from their inception. I experienced this firsthand when seeking to engage with Rowing Australia. Even though they are funded by our tax dollar, they are not obliged or mandated to adopt innovation, even if they've proven to have an advantage. There have been 2 Senate estimates inquiries into Rowing Australia's refusal to adopt my design. This all blew up when an Italian won gold at the 2019 World Championship using my design, beating the race favourite and undefeated Australian Shaun Murphy. Central to my research is to understand how was Martino Goretti able to overcome the inertia of conservation. It would appear that it was only because he had the agency to do so. Goretti was an independent rower, a single sculler, and was not part of the Italian Federation. He had just retired, he had heard about my design and tested it, and went on to win a qualification race, and then the World Championships. Innovation is a paradoxon. The world repeatedly says that it believes in innovation, yet the extent of innovation resistance and the multitude of failed good designs would suggest otherwise. The world believes in the Trinitarian source of innovation from government, business and university sector. The Schumpeter view of innovation still dominates, directing policy and funding towards these sectors. Yet since the 1990s, there has been a growing recognition of an excessive number of innovations that come from leading individuals who exist outside of this trinity. Lead user theory has quantified the extent and is now trying to realize the potential that they hold, yet bringing lead users into organization has proved to be difficult as they won't conform to organisational structures, and reaching out and engaging with them is fraught as they find transferring information difficult. The origins of rowing is found in two places: the Royal Navy and the Olympic movement, and their mottos are very revealing. If you want peace, prepare for war. And with the Olympics, faster, higher, stronger. Much has been written about the Royal Navy's conservation bias, so much so that the technologies of the Industrial Revolution, steam and iron, were resisted, and they held on to wood and sail for a long time. Early in the 19th century, Napoleon was defeated and the North American colonies were lost. Thousands of sailors were discharged, and they went to establish rowing clubs around the globe. These clubs were naval microcosms complete with hierarchy, terminology, iconography, and organisational attitudes towards innovation. During this time, the Oxford-Cambridge Boat Race and Henley Regattas were founded. At this time, the modern Olympics were established, which was a celebration of individualism. Rowing was caught in a conservation versus innovation paradox from the start. The immovable anchor of the Royal Navy was hit by the unstoppable winds of the Olympics, resulting in paralysis. In my paper, I set out a series of design innovations and how rowing organisations were unable to meaningfully navigate this change. I argue that the majority of innovations were only because of the agency of individual, independent, single scullers, much like Martino Goretti. Yet you will see the word innovation on websites of rowing organisational bodies around the world. This is contrary to their systemic organisational resistance to innovation. I would like to show the value in conducting historical and theoretical surveys to understand the dynamics of innovation within any context. For rowing, actually adopting innovation may present that elusive performance edge teams are looking for. And I would like to see that awareness of the paradox could bring change within sport. Lastly, I wish to make a contribution to understanding the dynamics of design innovation and the paradoxes of innovation more generally. Thank you.